2.5 Crows is a podcast with me, Skyrus, and Mommy Crow. It's a podcast you guys can ask any questions. We'll talk about random topics, etc., etc. Yeah. Sometimes it's also related. Doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. But yeah, we're just here to talk mostly, to be honest. Yeah. Unfortunately, Crow's not here. She stayed awake way too long, and I don't think she's waking up, and I don't want to wake her up because I want her to sleep. So, Crow is not here.
Yeah.
Guy's here though. What's up, Sky?
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing alright.
But yeah, we don't really have anything necessarily planned today. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to type them out in the chat, and we'll definitely answer them. But one thing I definitely wanted to talk about is the new KR update we got, and we can do dailies in the background if you want, Sky. I'm on my main.
Oh wait, I completely forgot about dailies actually. Sure, we could do dailies if you don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind. So, if you guys want to follow with us, first thing, any question's fine. Any question's fine. This isn't an Elsford podcast. It's like an R podcast. So any questions. So if you guys want to follow us, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it.
We have a question immediately. Okay. What's our favorite planet? You want to go first?
This is very hard to say because I'm not too aware of the chemical compositions of all the planets. But Uranus looks pretty.
I'm a fan of Saturn. I just like the rings, man. I like the rings a lot, especially as a kid. Yeah. I just thought it looked the coolest because of those rings. That's that question. Also, which daily would you like to do first?
Sorry?
Which daily would you like to do first?
I think just read them all and then we can sit down and talk.
Sure. I say, speaking of Riggamore, I think that's a good transition to talk about the upcoming dungeons coming out. So, we have 2 new dungeons coming out. They are called, first of all, the region, quote-unquote region, is called Outside Riggamore, or Riggamore Outskirts. I mean, not Riggamore, excuse me. Prunum Outskirts. It's called Prunum Outskirts. I think me and a lot of other people, and tell me if you have this too, I'm a little bit bothered by the fact that Eltrud still hasn't given us a new town yet, like a new real town, ever since Elrianode.
Oh.
Like, I like Elrianode, but I'd like to have a new spot. You know what I mean?
I think lore-wise it makes sense that we don't have a new town.
Oh yeah, for sure.
At the same time, it's like a town.
Yeah, and I think a decent amount of like gameplay story segregation there is completely fine. You just like a new hangout spot. Aside from that, though, I mean, Outskirts of Prunum, a little bit wish they called it something different, but it's whatever. It makes sense in the story. Makes sense in the story. Have you seen either of the dungeons, like of what they look like or anything like that?
No, I'm not. I've been meaning to check them out, but
they have really, in my opinion, I think it's really cool. Some like really cool like Aztec designs, like Aztec, like what's the other word? Mayan as well.
Oh.
Like that type of like vibe going for them. It looks really cool in my opinion. I'm actually a really big fan of it because Alter's never done some like Aztec or Mayan before. But here we go. So pretty excited.
Yeah, diversifying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I like the variety especially because this is like talk about Riggamore, right? Like Riggamore in itself is like lots of like underwater like caverns and like machinery, things like that, and there's like demonic stuff in the beginning. There's a lot of variety in Riggamore, and then Prunum is mostly like, I guess it's mostly an ice area. I would say, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So it's like it's actually nice to go like, it almost feels like the opposite of Prunum with like this kind of like Mayan type of thing, because that's like typical like you would think that'd be like hot, kind of area like that. At least when I think of Mayan things, I think like hot places. So
Valley temperament.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that's cool. There's two dungeons. It's called, and please forgive me if I'm not saying this correctly. Plagueus's Gaze and Plagueus's Likeness. Um, so yeah, at least to my knowledge, one dungeon is obviously the drop dungeon, and one dungeon is the EXP dungeon. I do believe, and again, please correct me, anybody in chat, if you know correctly if I'm wrong, but I do believe the standard for the EXP dungeon is double the amount of EXP of Trosh or something like that. Like I heard something like if Trosh is 13 mil and then this dungeon's like 23 mil, 25 mil, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely more than Trosh, but I think there is a glaring elephant in the room, so to speak, with this new dungeon when it comes to EXP is there is a 3 million combat power requirement door in front of it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to EXP grinding, you don't have a lot of CP.
Yeah.
Like,
I think especially after they removed the recovery item thing, adding CP, which I think it's a good thing that they removed it.
yeah,
but at the same time, it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, now we have
what
the
about CP?
It's like, I think the idea is there, right, to replace Trosh, because I think everybody's tired of Trosh. I hate Trosh. I've been hating Trosh, and I think everybody does too. Oh, also to tangent real quick. The new EXP dungeon is Trosh. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so think about the layout of Trosh. The first room is like a small room, right? This room.
Yep.
The next room after this one is a big room with like, you got the top section and the bottom section, right? The room after the room coming up is a smaller room again with just a straightforward path, and then of course you have the final room, which is the biggest room, and it has like, you know, it's just very large, it has a bunch of enemies in there. Literally the new EXP dungeon is the same thing. Starts off with a small room.
Wow.
Yeah, starts off with a small room, goes into a bigger room with like a top and bottom section, goes into a small room, and then goes into the final biggest room with the most enemies, and then straight to the boss. So
the real question is whether the mobs are as annoying.
It's hard to say. I will say immediately though, they're automatically spawned in. So, you know, that's a big difference already. You know. In annoyance, I mean, I watched a like +12 like Rune Master do. I mean, Rune Master +12 Genesis do it. So he was like carrying them to shreds. But granted, he didn't have party Q buff. He was just solo went in there. So.
Okay.
And he cleared it sub. I think it was sub 230. It was pretty fast.
Okay.
So +12 Genesis with no party buff alone, doing like sub 3 minutes, sub 230. That's pretty good. If you had like a full party of like +11s for essentially, right? Like going in there too.
Yeah.
But again, I think the big glaring issue is still a big glaring of just like, you know, this is the EXP dungeon, but I'm sure a lot of people won't be able to use a vast majority of their EXP equipment.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one didn't get
Josh doesn't want to come.
I know, right? That's definitely an issue. Like, I tested it for myself. I'm at 3 million combat power, with my current weapon, like my current damage weapon. Even with if I put my EXP tree on. So if I wanted to grind there, like how I am, I could. I just would have to equip the EXP weapon, and then equip the EXP weapon in the dungeon and then unequip it, etc., etc. Which is, you know, definitely would be annoying, but I could do it essentially. But I don't know. Like, what do you think? Because you grind more EXP than me. Like, how do you feel about this? Like, it's a EXP dungeon that technically does give more than Trosh, but it has this 3 million requirement.
I think you then have to like balance out the EXP gain and time spent and the amount of investment you need to get to the 3 mil CP in the first place.
I have a feeling I feel like it's only double, and I don't know if only double Trosh's EXP is enough.
I don't think so.
Yeah, for you to justify grinding that versus grinding this. Yeah.
Yeah, because my Animos is like barely at Trosh CP. Granted, she's full XP, and I built it in a way that will ensure maximum comfort. Right, but it's like, I'm like,
But there's probably no way she's getting in the new dungeon for quite a while.
Yeah. That's unless I get rig gear on her. But even with riggable gear, it's like, if it's
Hmm.
like, will I be able to hit the 3 mil CP with like an EXP average,
Right, right.
for example?
And then, but I think another kind of like argument or something like goes in there is that at the same time that that new EXP dungeon, it's not like it only gives you EXP. You're getting drops for the new system, which is something we haven't talked about yet.
It's
So
true.
I think honestly, with that in mind, that you're also getting drops for the new system, I think especially early on, it would definitely be worth it, at least in my opinion, to grind the new dungeon. Maybe not the EXP dungeon, but maybe the drop dungeon, unless you want to do the EXP dungeon just for bonus EXP. But like, especially early on, when the system's gonna be fresh, not many people have the new item, like the new equipment yet, and people are gonna be searching for it, I think it's definitely gonna be a lot more beneficial to be doing a double like EXP farming and kind of this new drop farming.
See, that's a
'Cause-
good point because for drop rate grinding sets, like you want as much CP as possible to
Mhm.
benefit off get greedy. So
Yeah.
3 mil CP is kind of like, okay, how do I say this? Like, the entry barrier is not as relevant if you're grinding drops versus if you're grinding EXP.
Exactly. I think like I know a lot of people are like ERP fiends. Like I'm definitely not an ERP fiend. Like I got to 300 because I felt like that was comfortable for birth, and then I stopped caring as much. Like after I met that
Hmm.
threshold. But I know a lot of people are just like, I want as high ERP. I want
400,
400,
550.
500, 550. I'm going in. Like I ain't them. I'm definitely not them. Not at all. I mean, more props to them. If you want to grind that much ERP, more power to you. That ain't me. Actually, speaking of that, I'm actually more fond of drop grinding than I am EXP grinding.
Like an ice, right? Or like,
No, yeah, like an ice right, but just like in general, like my general sense of like Elsword as a game. Like I get more joy, I guess, out of getting like a
items.
really rare drop than I do increasing ERP. If
Oh,
that makes
interesting.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm
Yes.
just like, with drops, like getting a bunch of these items that I could like either use or sell to increase my power, that's just more enjoyable to me than getting a point of ERP after a long grind that I put into one little stat point. That
Okay, yeah, that's
that definitely at this point, I feel like I don't need much more ERP because I have pretty much everything I would want to have. Like the only thing I want really that isn't maxed out is like
actually what do you not have maxed out? Because you need 400 to max out all your like offensive options.
yeah, like I have. I'm trying to think actually. What do I not have maxed out? It might just be MP cost, which MP on Nova, LOL. He is MP.
Yeah.
What is MP?
Oh no, I meant because you need 400 to max ASD polarized boss damage CDR at abs.
I think it's I guess it's CDR at that point, right? I would think so. I could check after this. I'm not sure at the
Yeah, I
top
would
of my
think so
head.
too. But
Yeah, I think it must be CDR that I don't have capped out. Um, and even then,
yeah,
like once I, and like like we're saying, once I do cap that out, where do I go? Nowhere really, because
yeah.
MP consumption is irrelevant on Nova. Max MP is irrelevant on Nova. So I don't really need anything anymore.
That's true.
So when it comes to
Actually,
ERP, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'd say beyond 400 for classes that have like no mana problems.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing you'd be grinding for at that point is like to increase your farm page strength. Like imagine if you could
Mm-hmm.
farm with damage.
Yeah. That's what I do a little bit actually. I put some ASD into my farm page.
Yeah, but I guess then the problem then comes like you're grinding like 10 hours for like one level.
Yeah, and like that I don't like that. I really don't like that. Like grinding all these hours, and it's like, good job. You got one little bit of cooldown increase. Good job. Compared to like, okay, I grinded 10 hours of
I
Rigor.
got
Here's all this
I got
ED
like
you
I
got.
misplaced him.
Yeah, here's this massive amount of ED you just got. And like, I don't know. At least for me, that feels better.
Actually, I wonder whether it's because I wonder whether. So I guess like for those who don't know, I'm like the opposite. I
Mm-hmm.
will go ham for ERP. I try my best to grind at least like 5-6 hours every two
Mm-hmm.
times the XP event.
I mean,
And
if I may
but I
pose a
guess
theory. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I'm just thinking like I wonder whether our mindsets are different
Mm-hmm.
because of the heights of gear that we've reached.
Maybe.
because you're pretty much free to play.
Yeah, more
So
or
then,
less. Yeah.
yeah. So then, because of that, like you would never have been able to taste what it's like to be the best of the best.
Yeah, it's funny you
Whereas
said that. I make it a point actually to not go to plus 12 because I know with like the KC that
once
I
you get
get
it,
from
like once you taste the power, like you can't stop. You just gotta get plus 12 every time.
and I like at least for me, I kind of want to be like I know maybe this sounds arrogant or like weird, but I kind of want to be like essentially like a model for like what free to play players can like achieve realistically.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
No, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Yeah. Because like I think all plus 11 is very achievable by free to play if you're like dedicated enough to grinding and smart enough with the market, etc.
Yeah. Because like on the surface, it looks like you have to grind hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, if you grind smart, it's all about working smart, not working hard.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's working hard, like ERP, for example.
Yeah.
But
of course.
But I think practically everything else can be bought with money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, money definitely speeds up the process and helps you reach higher heights. Like 12. Like I don't think I would ever go for 12, even though I'm sure I'm capable of it. I don't think I ever will, just because I don't want to be in that kind of headspace. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's two things. Like I don't want to be stuck in that space where like I'm just like, oh man, I have to get plus 12 every time. That's one thing, and I also again like I want to be like the model of just like, okay, this is what's capable for like free to play. This is what's achievable by you guys. For you guys.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's why I like drop. Like I remember when Rigor first came out, I did so much ice rate. Like I got the title so fast just because I liked grinding ice rate and just getting glacium. Very enjoyable.
I think that's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I not grind ice rate again? I think I was just lazy because I got TSS before I got Survival of the Cold.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I got TSS. Yeah, I got TSS like months before I got Survival of the Cold actually.
Oh, that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, it was mostly. I think a big part of it was laziness. And another big part of it was not enjoying the grind because I just performed so much worse than most other people because of my class, and I think it put me down a lot.
Yeah, that's understandable. Like when I was doing it, it was just me and my friend Epi, and we were just doing it together, and we were just talking to each other and having fun. That like I didn't really care if I was like going a little bit slower. Like I think in those days I always took top just because top was the fastest, and like that kind of a little bit offset like Nova's bad clearing at the time.
Definitely.
So it definitely helped a little bit. And I got it pretty fast. You know, these days I don't do ice ride as much just because like I don't know. And this was like one of my theories as to why maybe like EXP grinding more. I think the community as a whole just kind of like puts more importance.
It a lot?
Yeah, I think the community as a whole like puts more importance on grinding ERP than grinding drop, and grinding EXP more than drop.
I think it's because like there's no doubt that it provides a billion benefits.
Mm-hmm. And yeah,
at the same time.
Go ahead.
At the same time, it's kind of like, what's the point of going above 550? Like once you hit 550, it's like there's really nothing else.
Right. And yeah, I was gonna add like one benefit I will say to ERP that you cannot deny is that you are grinding for something that will never go away. You're gonna have it permanently. Like
also
it's for your whole account.
Alts.
Yeah, and it's for your whole account too. So
yeah,
that's definitely really nice because like it's you're like it is really nice to like grind for drops to get ED, right? But ED goes away. You use ED to buy things, and that ED won't come back to you. You could argue that like maybe it comes back depending on what you buy, but you're spending ED, it's going away. If you grind for ERP, it may take a long time, it may take longer, but you're grinding for something that will never ever go away. You're always gonna have that ERP. That ERP is gonna be shared with your whole entire account if you want to start up another character, and it does help a lot in boosting them. So I definitely understand why people like to grind ERP, and I'm sure you'll like to grind it more if you have a lot of alts, but surprise, I also don't like playing a lot of alts, so maybe that plays into that.
And I guess there's also that, I've probably mentioned this multiple times before, like the whole point about how ERP is one of the only things you cannot buy. Like it contributes so much to your damage, but there's no shortcut to the hard work, and I had gotten And like you haven't hit this point yet, and you probably will never hit this point. But I had hit a point where literally the only way I could get stronger was to grinding RP.
Yeah.
And then when I was like 50 RP points below everyone else at the time, I was like I felt like I was so far behind, and I kind of knew that like no matter how much whaling I did, I would never be able to get it.
Yeah.
I just had to put in the raw hours.
Yeah, that's
so maybe that's why.
Grind.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I guess when you grind the RP, you also kind of get glazing along the way, but obviously it's not as much.
A little bit.
It's a bit, but like.
Yeah, it's a solid amount.
That's why 2 times EXP with 2 times drop is absolutely godsend.
Yeah. You also get more ED as well.
Yeah, you also get like. I think during that time I got almost 1 mil ED a Trosh run, and I grinded for like 12 hours that day.
Nice.
And then I made a lot of raw ED just from. Yeah. Anyway, what was the original topic again? I feel like we sidetracked.
Oh no, I mean, we were just kind of talking about the new dungeons and like in regards to because the new dungeons are the new quote unquote drop in EXP dungeons. You know, I think they're trying to replicate Trosh and Ice Rite in a way because it's just like one dungeon gives EXP, one dungeon gives drop, and then like the main kind of I guess our overarching question is it worth it to grind EXP in a dungeon that has a high CP requirement? I think we figured out that no. If you're just going for pure EXP, yeah, I think if you're going for pure EXP, Trosh is still king at the moment. But I think if you want to take advantage of the fact that these dungeons are new and get the drop items that drop here, I think you're gonna make a lot of money. I think you're gonna make a lot of ED, especially early on. And if we may transition a little bit, I will kind of want to talk about the new system.
Sure.
Because it seems pretty crazy. I don't understand it fully. But I think if I understand it in the way of like thinking of it as like artifact sockets and like artifact wedges, I think it makes more sense in my brain. If you guys want to follow along, if you join my Discord, there's a channel called Conference Notes. And I have a bunch of pictures in there talking about this new system, and kind of how it works. Again, I still don't fully understand it. I'm still not fully there with it, but I think I understand vague parts about it that we can at least talk about it for sure. So, from what I understand, you have to buy a quote-unquote, let's call it artifact wedge, like a armor wedge or a weapon wedge, and when you get the, and that wedge costs 100 of the new material, whatever they're gonna call the new material. And then once you get this wedge on it, well, and let me might as well show it on the screen real quick. Hold on.
Sure.
Yeah, give me a second here. Chat room. There we go. Okay. So here we go. So as you can see, it looks literally just like a wedge. It looks like a rainbow wedge. You have to get 100 materials and you can get the wedge. And once you get the wedge, you can put these kind of, maybe I'll call them artifact sockets for now. I don't know what the official name is, but these rainbow artifact sockets, you can put them on your artifact equipment. Now, we have 2 rings, a circlet, armor, and a necklace. And then you can put them on Denif. So again, I don't know how it works again. But if you guys can see here, and you can probably see that too, Sky, is, for example, the rings, there's 5 different versions of the ring. And I wonder which part is the RNG and which part is the consistency here? Because there's 5 different ones you can pick from. And there's also... Go ahead.
Oh, I think the 5 different ones is in the stats. So the stat is fixed, but the value and the color is RNG.
That makes sense.
I think.
And let's go into that real quick. So Sky just mentioned the stats. We've got the stats here. The ring has all these offensive stats like ignore physical, critical damage. The circlet has utility like MP cost, cooldown time, crit, maxi. The armor has defensive like damage reduction, HP, and the necklace has skill damage like bravery, tenacity, etc., etc. So, honestly, I think Sky is right because I see the MP thing right here for the circlet. and that lines up with the MP cost reduction. So I think she's right that you pick the stat that you want, but you get an RNG color and an RNG amount.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. That's I'm glad there's some consistency. There's obviously not a lot, but I'm glad that you can pick the stat that you want at least.
Yeah.
Very nice. So I guess, should we talk about the stats first, or do you want to talk about the colors first? Because I think there's two different big conversations we can have about that.
Since we have the stats
sure.
here already, let's talk about stats.
So, what do you think is the most desirable thing from the rings? Remember, we get 2 rings. So we got raw physical magical 2, ignore physical magical 2, crit damage 2, ASD 2, and polarize 2.
I think it's either ignore defense or mismatch.
Yeah, because I think if you have an ignore defense skill, you definitely go for ignore defense. I think polarize, most people have it capped, I feel, with this new Iceburner set, you know?
Yeah.
Because I already don't have any more polarized ERP. I took away all my polarized ERP, and I'm still hitting the cap.
Okay.
And critical damage loses its effectiveness around, what, 200%?
Yeah.
Yeah, and at least I don't know about you, but me personally, I'm around 200% already for critical damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And at that point, it's a battle between ASD and Fizzmag. And I think Fizzmag comes on top of that battle.
Let's see.
Yeah. And again, you get 2 rings, so you get 2 of this first stat. The next one's interesting. Cause I think the next one, at least from, I see a couple different choices you can pick. So the Circlet, you got skill cooldown, MP consumption, motion speed for some reason. I don't know what the heck that's doing there.
I think it's all speed.
Oh, maybe it's
all
all
speed.
speed.
It's all speed.
Yeah, I think it's all speed.
Maybe it's all speed, yeah.
You're probably right. Okay, so skill cooldown, MP consumption, all speed, maxi, and crit.
Wait, hold on. Because 8% actually sounds kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just movement and jump.
Maybe it's hard to say. These machine translations, they're always so unreliable.
They're kind of dodgy.
Yeah, they're kind of dodgy. I mean, okay, if that includes attack speed, I think attack speed would be a pretty solid one. Just so you don't use up a socket slot, because 8% is that kind of interesting number, where it's higher than I believe that's higher than an armor socket, right?
Yeah, armor socket 6%.
Yeah, so it's higher than an armor socket, which is really nice. Yeah, there's a lot of good options here. Like, of course, the skill cooldown time, like that looks very desirable to me for a Nova who has really bad cooldowns. So
yeah,
that looks nice. Crit and Maxi also look pretty nice. You know, that obviously opens up the space for more boss sockets, which are always really nice.
I think at this point, I still feel like skill cooldown time would be
the best.
Better.
I think so too.
Especially because even with that critical maximize, even if you look at classes that have no free stats, you have to consider like that gives you like 7% more boss damage, and you have to weigh that out whether that's worth it over 5% CDR.
Yeah, 5 CDR is a lot. That's actually a lot if you get the max value.
Yeah, max value.
Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna be a thing. A struggle.
We'll think about how hard it is to actually achieve max values later.
Yeah. Okay. I think the next one is straightforward. So the armor, we got HP, damage reduction, physical magical defense, reduced damage from bosses, and resistances. I'm already at the cap for reduced damage from bosses, even with no reduced damage from bosses ERP, just from my boss stones, I think. And from the the Centurion L book buff and things like that. So I think that one's off the table. Who cares about resistances? Maybe damage.
I think that's HP.
Yeah, it's either HP or damage reduction. I feel.
Yeah. I think it depends on how much damage reduction you have already.
Yeah. It depends. I think it depends how good. Ironically, I think it depends how good your artifact armor is. I think if your artifact armor is like really nutty, then you go HP. If it's like the damage reduction on it is not that good, maybe good. I think you go damage reduction. It's really nice too because You never socket. There's no reason to socket damage reduction, so you never have it in PvE. So getting it from artifact armor and now this new system, you're gonna get a lot of benefit from it.
Agreed.
Which really helps in things like birth to make you less squishy. The next one I think is straightforward too. You just get your it's just skill damages. Get your best skill, you know? Just straightforward. If you're bravery, get bravery. If you're strength, get strength. I think the dumb thing with this one, why is hyper and masterclass only 5%? What? Those should have been like at least
20.
15. Yeah, 20 minimum.
15, 20, yeah.
Yeah, why like 5? No one's gonna go for that ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's straight for like for Nova. I just get bravery. You know, more bravery damage. Let's go. I'm there.
I think what's really nice is that this now brings viability to the necklace because before
exactly.
before like you could like run no necklace and it'll like
because
basically
it all has masterclass damage, which is trash. Masterclass damage and size, I guess. Size is there too. But they're all bad. Like the only good ones are the buffs, and they're not. That's not damage. That's a buff.
Yeah.
Like there's some that are clearing, but you probably don't even need them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really love giving point to the necklace. I think that's very nice. Okay, yeah, those are the stats. I guess we'll go into the colors now. So there are 5 colors. There's blue, yellow, green, orange, and red. You can kind of think of them. And okay, here's how it's gonna go, right? So as we can see here, he has the rainbow thing on it, and you can obviously the button here probably says apply and whatever. So he applied it, and he got orange color. It looks like he got 0.6%. So we know these values can be very low, unfortunately.
God.
0.6 is what he got. Whatever stat that is, I don't know what stat that is. But he got 0.6.
It says I think it's polarized.
Polarized? Okay.
Because it says max 45%.
And it has the attack line. True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is polarized. He has 0.6% polarized, so it can go very low.
Wow.
The maximum for the polarized one was 2%. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I guess if the highest is 2%, 0.06, I guess isn't the worst.
Oh god.
I don't know, but it's weird to see such low numbers. Yeah, and he got orange, RNG, or got orange. So Sky was definitely right there. That's RNG numbers, RNG color, but the stat is consistency. So the fun thing with this is we got a lot of essentially set effects to kind of mess around and play with. I think this is probably one of the most exciting things is like theorizing like what's the best thing for your class, because I think this is definitely one of those things that a lot of people complain about, and I can understand that and sympathize that to a degree with people, is a lot of people complain that Elsword doesn't have as much variety, because like mostly what everybody gets is the same, especially back in the day with Elrianode set. Everybody pretty much got the same Elrianode set. I think Rigmore had a bit of that variety, because at least with Rigmore, it's like you did Crimson, you did Cerulean, or you did Sage, and of course PvP Violet. So at least you had 3 options. You had Crimson, Cerulean, and Sage, and you decided amongst that. I think this is very similar to that, where a lot of these are pretty solid. Except maybe like blue. Blue maybe seems like a PvP thing. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
And red has a botched translation that I don't understand, so I can't tell if that's good. Like.
Yeah. Wait.
Damage reduction -5. Attack of inflicting damage of 0.5 as 3 additional seconds sustained damage occurs. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But yellow, green, and orange, those seem really nice actually. And I think so. Do you have any like theories of like theoretical builds you would build? Because I think go ahead.
I guess the big question now is: do you build 2 and 3, or do you build a full 5?
Because like I think the two biggest kind of rivals right now, at least I'm hearing, is Orange 5 versus green 3, yellow 2.
Oh.
Because orange 5 is really good. You get
Yep.
more tankiness in adaptation bosses, more adaptation, and you get a kind of unique modifier in 10% damage to bosses increased in adaptation dungeons.
Yeah.
Damage taken too.
Orange looks like a set that you either build 5-piece or you don't build at all.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
Because the 2-piece is kind of
yeah,
and the 3-piece is. The 3-piece is also because you can. I mean, I guess you need black and white to do this, but you can max out adapt with like Exodia.
Yeah.
Self out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
But yellow, like yellow 5 is also really good too.
I think the problem is that I think what I want to know is the duration and the internal cooldown on yellow 5. Because
yeah,
it seems
that's
like
weird. Yellow 2 has a cooldown, but yellow 5 doesn't.
Maybe it's just not written there. I think it would, but people need to test it. Well, I feel like it should. Yeah. I feel like an effect like that should have an internal cooldown. Because otherwise, you can't just like.
I mean, is it just eternal if you're in Awakening? But no, then it would say in Awakening, right?
Oh wait.
Or is it just 4% when you're just awakened?
Let's just blame this on Google Translate.
Yeah, Google Translate's pretty wacky.
Which is fair enough, considering it's a machine. But,
yeah.
You know, this is what we got.
Yeah, no, it's so fun to theorize, you know.
But if it is magical attack, if in Awakening, I think yellow 5.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good.
If it's this magic attack when Awakening, and then you have and it has a duration and an internal cooldown, then I think it's a bit less.
Do you think all the previous set effects would be applied if you have the 5-piece? Oh, for sure. It has to.
It has to, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you have an Ice Burner 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
The 2 and the 3 set also apply.
Yeah, because the only reason I was considering green 3, that just
all skill cooldown.
Yeah, raw all skill cooldown 5. That's pretty nice. And the kind of a little bit of self healing is kind of cute too. 3% to MP every second. That's pretty nice.
Because it's about 500. Wait, hold on. No, you need 6 mil CPU to go hit that.
Okay, so I would have 1.5.
Realistically.
So 1.5 at least for me.
Okay, let's do the maths. 0.5.
Because I have 3 million CP at the moment.
Oh, okay. Okay, unless I've done my maths wrong. Assuming you have 550 max mana, you get 8 mana a second.
That's more than Gate of Darkness.
Sure.
Which is pretty nice. Not bad. Okay. Yeah, no, if not the green 3, definitely the yellow 5. Looks really nice. Yeah, no, it's just so good.
I have to crunch some numbers.
Unless the red is actually good and the translation's just messing it up, I just can't comprehend what red is trying to tell me because it's it's minus reduced damage. Wait, what? Wait, what are we talking about? Why are we reducing my reduced damage?
Either that or attack with inflicting.
Right? Like the second part just makes your brain break.
Brain melted.
Yeah, no, I just don't understand it. I was just trying to do a unique polarized kind of function. Like reducing reduced damage, but increasing something else.
Yeah. Okay, my brain fried on this one, so this is probably not right. But what if it's something like when you take damage, your attack rate increases by 1.5% for 3 seconds.
Maybe, but that seems pretty bad. Because why would you want to take damage? I mean, sometimes you can't avoid it. Right?
Yeah, because in birth you're tanking damage.
That's true. That's true.
fair amount, especially in 15.5.
I mean,
But the value's kind of too low, so that's kind of sus.
yeah, no, like that's 0.5 for 2, and then the 5 piece is only 1.5 for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that's not
Another
really
thing
that good.
another thing that I can think of is that when you hit something, you deal an extra like percent amount of your attack as like extra damage for 3 seconds, but that sounds kind of not that great either.
Yeah, like any which way we're slicing this doesn't seem as good as the others.
But I think,
Go ahead.
I mean, but I'm still very curious as to what it would be because the whole 5-piece set is you're reducing a red damage by 13%.
Yeah, for
So,
some,
like,
it
the
has to be
kicker
some type of damage benefit, like polarize.
has to be like a really large damage benefit for it to be better.
But it doesn't seem like that because it says 1.5. Like no matter what, it's 1.5 of something, which is a very low number. Yeah. Well, I guess it's 2% at 5 piece, but still.
But
like
yeah,
5% of any. I mean, 2% of anything doesn't sound very strong.
Yeah.
Because like even if it's just raw damage, that's still less than Code of Honor. Code of Honor is 10%.
That's true.
Like, this is only 2%. That's very low.
Hmm.
And you're less tanky.
Yes, like, congrats.
Like, oh my goodness! Imagine playing Nova like that. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I wonder. Okay, so one thing I wonder is I wonder how Orange 5's boss damage increase is calculated, because I wonder if it's unique from boss damage increase.
Yeah, like if it's multiplicative or additive.
Right.
Because if it's added, because if it's additive, it's probably not worse.
Yeah, but if it's multiplicative, hold on. If it's a
like,
buff, if it's a buff on your screen, if it's a buff, that sounds really good.
Yeah, like how much more damage do I have? Okay, so I have like, okay, mine's kind of low, but. Oh wait, no, that's because I don't have. Oh, that's because I don't have head on.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
Okay, so I have 175% boss damage, which is probably lower than yours, but. Yeah, imagine if I slapped on like another like 17.5% boss damage onto that.
That sounds pretty
like,
good.
Holy... Yeah, that's kind of fat.
I have 190 right now.
Okay.
It'll be like.
So you'd get like a 19. Oh.
19. That's almost 20% more boss. That sounds like a lot.
I mean, something tells me that it's probably additive, and that would be horribly disappointed. But...
Yeah, maybe.
Because a lot of the time we can't have that thing.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, okay, I think if it is multiplicative, that might be better than the whole, like, yellow 5 thing or yellow 2, green 3.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Also because you get 2% pad ups, it really helps with people who don't have...
And the 5% HP, too.
Yeah. Especially with squishy classes.
Yeah. Like, if you're trying to, like... If you're trying to stay alive in Birth... Like, okay, if you're a support, I think if you're a support, you either do green 5... or orange 3, green 2.
No. Oh, okay. Yep.
Because orange 3 is pretty good tank stats.
Yeah. Like, there's no point to buffing if you aren't live anyway.
Because, I mean, like, imagine if you're a support that's a low combat power support. That extra buff is not going to be doing much anyway, you know, from green 5.
Yeah, it's like one... Because if you're in Birth... That's like 1.5%, assuming you're at minimum CP.
Yeah, and that's like a tickle. That's like a tickle extra.
Yeah.
So might as well make yourself more tankier, you know? Yeah, this is definitely such an interesting system.
I also wonder how much effort it takes to be able to farm all this out. Because if it doesn't take much effort, then I think the payoff is worth it. Because these values are not... Because in the end, these values are not very big. It's not like it's not like I don't know, Ring of Honor.
That's true. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely another thing to, I guess, talk about for a little bit. Is like, I don't think we'll be grinding this as long as like Rigomore. Like, this definitely seems more along the lines of, I mean, strangely enough, artifacts. You know, like artifacts were definitely a good chunk of a grind, but not as long. Yeah, this is all in the new area. Yes, this is all in the new area. Yeah, because like at least for me when I was grinding artifacts, you know, first step you had to collect all of them, and then you had to make sure the identifications were just not trash, and then you were set. Like I'm thinking it took me a couple of months, but not that long. Compared to Rigor, which is taking years.
Literal years, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's talk about that too. We talked about this a little bit in the pre-stream, but I'm actually really happy this is not New Year we're getting.
Yes, I am.
Cause
like I'm.
Go ahead.
My reading year is nowhere near perfect yet.
Because
I need more time.
A lot of people were talking, like very early on in summer, very early on in the year, of just like, okay, we're getting a new armor set because it's the time to get new armor sets. Because I think the equivalent amount of time from when we first got Node from Heroic, we've hit that point again with Node to Rigor set. So it's just like, okay, the same allotted time is kind of up for Rigor set to be replaced with the new set. So people were just like, okay, we're getting a new armor set, we're getting a new armor set. And I remember myself thinking that too. I guess eventually people stopped talking about it. But it's definitely at that time period we didn't get it.
Oh.
Sorry. Someone's calling me. I'll be right back.
Okay. I guess to offer my thoughts on this, I think it's a good thing that we don't have a new armor set. Especially because so many people don't have this armor set completed yet, and it takes so unless you absolutely optimize your grind. Keep in mind that if you do absolutely optimize your grind, you can't even use this new armor set until like literally a year later, because the optimal way of obtaining the armor, grinding on 4 different characters, and each character would have 1 armor piece. So essentially, you split the entire armor across the alts, and then so therefore your main never gets to it until you transfer over the armor pieces from your alts, and the optimal time for that would be when you've gone Reforged 21, which takes a very long time. I think when did Kay took about a year for her to grind it out, so she did a year of dailies on 4 different characters, consistent dailies. She took about a year before she got full R21. So this is keeping in mind that.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm back.
It's all good.
Okay, so lost my place. What were we just talking about?
Reforged.
Oh yeah. The idea of Rigor armor. Yeah, so it was time. Essentially, the timeline wise, it was time for us to get a new set. But I'm happy that we're not, because I think a lot of people still aren't to the point where they're like done with Rigor.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, like I only just recently got my first piece to R21.
What are your pieces? Rest of your pieces are like 15, right?
Might as well take a look, gander here. So, my top piece is 17, bottom 17, glove 15, and the shoe is the 21.
Oh.
So yeah, that's kind of my range right now. And you know, to bounce off of that, I guess get you guys in the know. I've been pretty solid with doing most of my dailies every day, more or less. I think I definitely, yeah, of course I miss some days, I'm only human. I definitely did not use the strategy of reforging on different characters and then giving it, like, bank sharing it. So this is me doing this with just pretty much just what I got from dailies, essentially. I know if you are a person that made pieces on other characters and then moved them over, you'll probably reforge all 21.
Already, yeah.
If you're doing it diligently, you know.
Yeah.
If you're doing all your dailies diligently, it is not bank shareable. You would have to seal it and mail it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess maybe maybe that's the reason that they're not doing new gear, or maybe it's just that maybe the idea is that they kind of want Rigor gear to like be the gear that we have for a long time. In comparison to like Node and Heroic.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because I think another thing to consider is how much money or like ED essentially that we've pumped into these sets compared to other sets. Because
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think like I think with Elrianode set had more spikes in the amount of payment that you had to pay, but Elrianode, I mean Rigomore is more like a line, like an ascending line of how much you put into it. I get like if I could compare it to something, because like
Yeah.
with Elrianode set, if you wanted like enhancement ASD, that's 4 to 5 bill, just straight up. It's just
Yeah.
like like
Kaboom.
you can get this best L tier if you just pay 4 to 5 billion ED. Do you want it? And then like you just got it or didn't, or you got lucky and you dropped it. Um, and it's just like I think playing into that, like not a lot of people finished Arianode before they moved on to Rigmore. I think I'd be correct in saying that, right?
I would think so, yeah, because I mean, I had finished mine, but I spent a lot of money for that.
Mm-hmm. Like,
So,
like I had enhancement on my ASD because I got lucky. But my top piece I didn't have enhancement polarize, and
oh wow.
yeah, my top piece never. Well, wait, which one was the top piece? Was it top piece was
Yeah,
polarized, right? Yeah, okay.
that was
Yeah,
polarized.
I think I had like 10, maybe 10 was the max
Wow.
outside
Yeah,
of.
10 was max, yes.
Yeah, I think I had 10.
I stick.
Yeah,
Too good for
I
you.
never just got it. I tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, and I just never got it. And I was just like, by the time Rigomore came out, it was just like, time to move to Rigomore, so I just gave up on it, essentially.
Mm,
Um,
I think that's a good idea.
yeah, and I think, I think people have had, oh, it's on to comment. They wanted to give Rigor gear 1 more year so people can get higher reforges till next gear releases. Like, maybe. I think that's a theory for
Yeah.
sure. That's definitely a good theory.
Yeah, because you want people to be able to. You also want people to be able to get enough gear to do the region in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess wait, that doesn't make any sense.
No, that makes sense. You want people to have enough gear to do the next region because like, if we're taking the sets that we have now and comparing it to the region, if you don't have rig set, you're not getting into these new dungeons. You know, like if you don't have a good
Yeah.
rig set, you're not getting into these dungeons.
Yeah, like imagine trying to hit 3 mil CP with Node.
You're not like
But-
that's just not happening.
Realistically, yeah.
So maybe that could be the case. I mean, and I think another thing too is I think if a new gear existed, right? If a new gear existed, it's looking at you straight in the face. I think you as a person is just thinking like, man, I pumped so many Coralite seeds, and well, I think it's mostly just Coralite seeds because
Yep.
Amethyst, that's a daily, whatever. You know, if you spent Glacium, you're a whale probably. And so I'm not talking about you. But Coralite seeds though, Coralite seeds cost a lot of ED, and of course the raw ED because thank you Korean players for botting. But a lot of raw ED goes into Reforged as well. You're just like, it's gonna hurt to be like, well, this set is being replaced with this new set. Because I remember early on when people were theorizing, people were just like, "Oh, I wonder if they're gonna do a reforged transfer, kind of like how FOJ has the Mystic transfer." Right. And people were like theorizing, you know, maybe that would be a thing. And I think theoretically, if they made new gear, I think that would actually be pretty smart because then you don't feel like you lost all the progress, maybe you would call it, or dedication that you put toward, and ED2 you put towards the set.
Yeah.
Because
or it could be a thing like maybe let's say for example the gear has like some kind of maybe the new gear will use a reforge again, but it maybe uses like a different reforge, like how to say it, progress table,
maybe
like almost like transferring something to a new EXP table, and then maybe it's like, okay, well you can transfer your but I think I think being able to retain at least some of your progress is very good. It makes it so then like, oh, say for example you could be like, oh, I've done like 2 years worth of dailies just to get my gear up. Like having to throw that all away is kind of yikes.
Yeah, that's very yikes. I mean, like, I think, at least in my opinion, I think Rigomore's the best of all the armor sets we've had so far.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because, I thought SD was basic because SD only had like one difference between it. And Air was boring because it was just base stats. Heroic was hell.
RNG
It,
hell. Oh,
I think
God.
Heroic might be the most RNG this game has ever gotten. Like, holy hell. Especially early Heroic.
Yeah, I guess for people who don't know, because Heroic armor got discontinued for like years, I think already know gear, but you couldn't socket. So, but all the tiers were already socketed in, but all the tiers were random. Like,
that's like,
and there was no way to re-identify these sets.
Not at
so
all.
You got a piece. Oh, it's bad. Oh well, dismantle it. Just gotta grind it.
Dismantle it and grind again. Dismantle it and do dailies again. Like, oh goodness.
It was bad.
Yeah. So Heroic, worst set in the world. Elreno pretty solid. I think Elreno is a good solid second place because like you had this kind of base set and then you like it was build a Heroic set essentially. And you built it with little pieces that you gathered. But I think one issue with Elreno, it is very homogenous compared to every other set, I think. Because everybody's Elreno set was the same. I don't think...
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, maybe the shoes were a little bit different, depending on how you felt. Like, maybe you wanted to do boss damage, or maybe you did MP cost or cooldown time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, aside from that, though, everybody's set was the same. Riggamore, I think, struck a very good balance of, like, consistency, because, like, individual effects were the same, but set effects were different. Because, you know, every set effect with a different thing. I think it's not perfect, because, one, there's only 3 viable sets, not counting the PvP set. It's Crimson, Cerulean, Sage. And then the, like, Cobalt and Vermilion are... Okay, Vermilion's not that much of a meme, but Cobalt's definitely a meme. And I don't know what they were thinking when they made that set. But, that's, like, a kind of problem. And then another problem is, of course, reforging. I don't think they thought it through completely, at least in my opinion, reforging. But, like, at the same time, I don't know... Like, I've thought about different ways to fix reforging. Like, one of the things I've thought of that they couldn't do because, like, I think it's too late for it. In my opinion, I think reforged durability should go... I'm trying to, like, word this in a way that makes sense. You should use... Like early reforged levels shouldn't use up reforged durability or should use up a lot less than later on. Yeah.
Oh.
Cause like, if you could go from at least up to 9, I would say either 6 or 9. If you could go from 0 to 6 or 0 to 9 without using reforged durability, and you can go straight there, and then once you get to that point, then you start losing reforged durability, I think it wouldn't be as bad. But that's not the case, and the fact that we had this problem of Corelight Seeds not kind of being available to players outside of the player market.
Yeah.
I think that's a very, very huge, glaring issue that I think, thankfully, the player base has stabilized it, because Corelight Seeds were cheap in comparison to everything else that cost the same amount of ED, you know?
Yeah.
Like sometimes they were, like, half the amount of, like, people sold ice burners for. So I don't think it was that bad, but the fact that had to happen, I think, is a flaw, if that makes sense.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah.
I think another solution could be just to implement weekly with Corelight Seeds.
Yeah. Like
although I think the amount of durability that they give should not exceed the amount of clicks you can do from dailies, if that makes any sense. From more dailies and weeklies, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, that completely makes sense. I think, I think that's so true. Like, I think what would work well is that, you know, going in tandem with what I said earlier, I think early on, it would be like, you got more durability than you were getting progress, right? And then later on, it kind of flips because you're getting later on in the set and it's supposed to be harder. So I think it works out a little bit better. You know, and like, I think, like, the at least in my opinion, one of the biggest glaring issues with Rigmar set is the 5% Coralite seed. Like, that was not implemented well at all. I think 5%. I think the 5% Coralite seed is one of the worst implemented items in the game, because
it's so necessary, but the drop rate is so bad.
Yeah, the drop rate is so bad. It is not available in weeklies. Like, 5% Coralite seed is, I think it is the rarest Rigmar drop, even more rare than accessories, and
I think so too.
It is crucial. It is literally crucial to Reforge. Like, so crucial that people sold 10% for cheap. That's how crucial it is. Like, and I don't know why to this day, and I'm honestly a little bit bothered that to this day they still haven't fixed that. At least fix the drop rate, put it in the weeklies, or something with these 5%, because these 5% are just there as like a weird thing.
Agreed.
It's so weird. Like, I don't understand it. Again, like, I can't complain too much because thankfully the players created a market which stabilized it. Like, I think some of the best is, like, I think usually Coralites bounce between like 10 to 15 mil back when a lot of people were reforging, and like that's not too bad. Like, that's fine in my opinion for a 10%. Like, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
But again, it's just the fact that the players had to do that. And it's not the game. The players had to do that.
It's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, like, for players to do this, like, people are loading up.
Yeah.
And also the fact that people are willing to sell Chlorite on the board, even though it's one of the most inefficient catering to ED things you can sell. Is also
like, the only benefit is that it was fast. You know, like, I'm sure if you were a Kaching seller and you wanted to make some fast ED, you sold Coralite seeds, because I'm sure they were popping off like hotcakes, because considering they're so cheap. Yeah, but I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts about, like, Rigmar. Again, and I still like it at the end of the day. Like, I'm a type of person, when it comes to gear, I'm gonna take consistency over, like, purest of RNG any day, you know? Like, it still has RNG with, like, you might get the skip, you might not, but I like that kind of cushion under it to be like, you'll get it eventually, you know?
Yeah.
Like, El Reno never
like,
had that.
You'll be sad, but you got something.
Right. Like, I think Reforge definitely has its issues, but I think it's one of the better systems when you compare it to, like, El Reno and definitely Enhancing. Like, I think if Enhancing kind of had this blanket that Reforge gives you, I think a lot more people would enhance, and a lot more people would have higher enhancement levels than they do.
I think so too, yeah. Because it's like, you are getting something.
Eventually, right? You can make yourself a budget, at least.
Yeah. You're not going to be like that guy who spent $500 and only went from plus 10 to plus 10.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And that's happened. I'm like, I bet that's happened.
I'm not even going to talk about.
Yeah, that's. Don't even talk about plus 12. Yeah, don't even talk about plus 12. I've seen sights into the torture.
Many horror stories.
Oh yeah, at least you have it. You're just waiting for the weapon now.
Yeah.
Quick tangent. How's the progress on the VOS? I don't know how frequently you're doing that.
I don't actually run that often.
Oh, okay.
So my bar is, like, really sad, actually.
Okay,
I'm at the OV in Vestige of Soul.
Let me see where that is, because memory escapes me.
It's a really small bar, basically. So you know.
Okay, yeah, I see where it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't run as consistently as I should, because I don't try very hard.
That's fair.
Parties, but
that's fair. That's fair. You know, sometimes you're just not feeling it. I understand that. I actually like Birth quite a bit, and I actually enjoy doing it. So, like, whenever I'm doing that, I'm actually quite excited to, like, see how well I do and things like that, because I do think it is an enjoyable boss fight, at least for me.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think especially if you're one of the main damage dealers, I think it's really nice.
I mean, I'm not, because I don't like, it's like a combination of, like, because I stream all my runs, so I have, like, pretty bad lag, so I'm not, like, optimally I'm not like optimally doing damage, and then, like, at least for me, I don't think Nova's that good unless you're really high geared in that dungeon, just because, like, lack of ignore defense.
Yeah, I think you can really see a big difference in class when, because usually my runs I get carried like very hard, as in like I'll deal like as much damage if not less than the supports. but but I've been in case parties before, and I've also and then I remember I had a party with Chili, who has full R21 Crimson.
Oh yeah. He's sometimes I think I've seen a couple of his like when he's like top DPS. It seems pretty solid.
Yeah, it seems pretty solid, but at the same time, like when you compare it to K, it's just like even though their gear is like quite similar, like you can just see like K is like light years away. And it's just not funny.
And I don't even think Sen's one of the best. I think he's like solid, but I don't even think he's one of the best for sure. Birth. I think like
Diangelion Liberator.
Yeah, Diangelion, Liberator, and on the magic side, Doombringer. I think they blow them out of the water. Gosh, like it's so funny. I'll watch like you know who Frost Crystal is?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll watch like Frost Crystal streams. And I'll watch him just like stand next to the boss and press Hell's Gate and like just watch numbers go down. And I'm just like, man, why can Diangelion just do this? Like,
why can't I do that? I want class privilege too.
It's so funny too because the skill has an innate like cooldown increase as well. So like
because Diangelion has like 1.5 innate CDA already. So then you watch them press Abyssal Gate, and it's already on like 8 seconds of cooldown or something because Diangelion has all of the transform CDs halved from passive. Yeah. So you see them press the button. The thing is on 8 seconds of cooldown. And then you see the 8 seconds go by in like 3 seconds.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And like not even and like also their transformation makes them tanky because they regain HP per second.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it's just like Nova over here being scared of getting hit because he's at 50% and then not even doing that much damage when he actually hits.
And then Diagonal's like,
That's cute.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very surprised that Diangelion has not been touched still. Like, I don't know how. Like,
yeah, like the most they got was getting their 100% ignore defense reduced to 60.
Wow, so great. Why is it 82? Oh my goodness. Like, even Rage Hearts got hit immediately. He went from 80 to 60, like, immediately.
Yeah. Oh, no, the Diangelion got hit in the same patch.
I know, but it went from 100 to 80. Like,
no, I think it was 100 to 60.
Was it 100 to 60? Okay, I might be wrong.
I'm gonna check. I'm curious. But still,
it's still a lot. It's still a lot. Yeah, like this is still. Let's not forget that that's still a lot for sure.
Yeah. Okay, 60%.
Okay, it's 60.
So,
okay, yeah, it is 60. It is.
Yeah. Okay. So what it does is shoots ahead a bunch of spheres explode. The absolute max damage you can get, which is probably only possible on like 13.5 base 3, is 63k.
Oof.
And then you have like a skill that because you have passive that increases your transform damage, your transform skills by. Okay. This passive increases your transformation skills by 30%. Then it halves the cooldowns, and you get 30% red damage too while transformed. So
insane.
And all this lasts 10 seconds. But I think it just means every 10 seconds you just gotta. I mean, you have to like pop out of the transformation anyway to
maintain the
like
timers and stuff like that. Yeah.
You have to get your boss back up anyway, but trying to go back in and then. God.
Oof, what a class.
Why can't we have nice things?
I know, right? Real quick. Somebody asked the question in the chat. Who is stronger, Mad Paradox or Hersher in lore?
I think Hersher has a bit of an edge.
Yeah. I think when it comes to raw, like I think maybe Mad Paradox might have more flexibility because time travel, but it's obvious he can't control the time travel very well because one, his body became smaller, and two, he couldn't get to his mom. Compared to Hersher, who just is the void.
Yeah, he just becomes the embodiment of the thing.
Of an air, yeah. That was definitely Hersher. I think definitely Hersher. Yeah, going back to what we were saying. Though.
Nice things. Well, I guess like we did.
Yeah, I think Nova's going in. I think Nova's going in a cool direction. I like the direction that Nova's going in actually. I
Have
think
some support.
yeah, have a bit of support and still capable of doing the damage that he can. Um, I think with a bit, honestly, well, I think with a bit of, with just a splash of defense ignore, he'll be very nice.
Rain of Fire defense ignore when.
Yeah, rain of fire defense ignore. I think just a splash. It doesn't even need to be a lot. I think just a splash, and he'll be good.
Yeah.
Like at minimum the crit trait. Minimum the crit trait, at least.
Yeah.
Who's taking the light trait? Are you kidding me? Why does that have the light trait? Who said that was okay? It's so funny now in perspective because they gave these skills the light trait without realizing that obviously later on, like now Nova's gonna be like the mana machine. So it's like
Yeah.
literally there's no reason to take the light trait, even if you don't even if you're not like a damaged DPS. There's no reason to take the light trait. You have so much mana.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of nice things, we did. I suppose we did have like 1.3, 130k Rain of Fire, but
Oh yeah. That at some point Rain of Fire was like stupid strong as well. And it got buffed to closer how it was before, not completely.
Closer.
Yeah, closer.
Yeah.
What was it? I was gonna say something. Oh yeah. And speaking of, we still have a Nova buff coming up. I think, and they might get it, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. But the change to Ignition Crow would thank the Lord. Oh my goodness, Super Armor. First of all, Super Armor Ignition Crow was a sin against mankind. It's so jank. Like I used it and it was okay, but good Lord, was that annoying.
Yeah.
The change is so nice. So if people don't know the change, Ignition Crow, instead of giving super armor to the team, now if an enemy is inside the fire, they take 15% more damage.
Oh, I thought it was allies within it.
No. It's a debuff. It's a debuff.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what I liked about it, because now you don't have to stand in it. You don't have to aim it well. You just aim it at the enemy, which is nice.
Yeah, you just smack them and then cool.
Yeah. And it seems like a gracious modifier because it just says damage increase. So that's really nice.
15%.
I guess the one downside is that I think it's counted as a debuff, so it might not work on hyper armor targets.
Yeah, which is kind of rude. But...
it's a little bit of a rip, but you know,
I mean, we'll take it.
There's debuffable phases, so it's not the worst.
Yeah. And there's also the other classes get hit way harder with debuff.
Yeah. It's funny too, because for a little bit of time it was actually really good that it was a debuff, because we had the buff cap for a little bit.
If
you want to talk about that for like 2 seconds. So for people who don't know, in the Genesis patch, which is the patch coming up next in NA, KR tried this thing called the buff cap. And what it was is that every buff that you had on your screen, in terms of physical and magical, could only get up, and I think maybe attack speed too, could only get up to 200% bonus. And that was interesting because there's a lot of classes in this game that don't have many self buffs but have very strong skills, and there's also many characters in this game that have a lot of buffing skills, because they have like low damage skills or whatever like that. I think the biggest one is Bloody Queen. I think Bloody Queen has a lot of passives and buffs that boost her damage. Meaning that with this buff cap existing, you lost a lot of damage with certain classes, because you just couldn't. You would reach your cap probably just using your own buffs, and then it's just like you couldn't use a fighter. You weren't getting much bonus from your teammates, like an Aisha buff or like a nameless buff, for example. So you just kind of sucks to be you, kind of thing, you know? But the funny thing about it, and I think this is hilarious, so the day that happened, there were so many people calculating. Okay, what's the buff cap for this character? Okay, what threshold are they at where, you know, that this is their class buffs? Okay, how much can they get buffed by their teammates? Okay, can they use a fighter pot? Is it okay for them to use a fighter pot? I remember seeing so many like Google Sheets and all this stuff trying to calculate all these different classes, all these buff stats. And you know what KOG did? They just got rid of it. There's no more buff cap. They're just the next day they just got rid of it.
All the maths. All the hours of number crunching.
All the maths were gone, like all the hours trying to calculate it. Nah, we got rid of it. Bad idea. Just get rid of it. And honestly, you know what? I give them claps for it. I respect that, actually. Because I think it takes a big man to be like, okay, we'll try something. If it's bad, if it doesn't work, get rid of it. You know? I think I respect that a lot, to be like, I messed to be like, this was not a good idea, let's just get rid of it, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
I wish they would do that with the support thing, but that's a different it's a different conversation there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they got rid of the buff cap. When we get Genesis patch, we probably won't even get it because it's gone in KR, so we probably won't even get the buff cap. It was good because I thought it was dumb. Like, well, I think maybe theoretically it's a good idea to try to keep the power level of people in check, kind of like adaptation, but it's just too dynamic for all these characters. There's just so many characters that have self buffing, and there's so many characters that don't have self buffing, that there's just too big of a disparity.
I think that's the primary. I think that was the primary problem, like the fact that there's a large disparity between how characters work and how they buff themselves and all that.
Sorry about that. But yeah, that's probably why they didn't do it. Yeah, that's that thing. Where did this topic spawn from? I'm trying to like actually remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. We just kind of oops.
Now I'm trying to think of a topic. We're going for a long time.
Yeah, it's been 15.
Oh, quick. Oh, I think it's okay. I think it's quick to mention. I don't know the specifics yet, but in the patch notes, talking about the enhancement changes. Were you in pod? Yeah, you were. You were in the first half of podcast last week, right? When we talked about enhancement.
Oh yeah, that's right. I had to leave early.
Yeah. Excuse me. So, we got a little bit of a reveal about the enhancement weekly. I don't. Okay. I think maybe it got released, but I haven't seen a translation of what the actual rewards in the quest is. But the patch notes said, first of all, it's per account. It is a weekly, and they said cobalt fluorite stones and restoration scrolls obtained through this quest are deleted after a certain time. So that reveals that the quest itself will have fluorite ores and restoration scrolls, and I think restoration scrolls are one of the biggest things there because
it's so expensive.
So expensive. So the fact that even like just one restoration scroll per week, like one scroll per week, that's a lot of free ED if you think about it. Like,
yeah. This thing's like 160 million or something.
Something like that.
Or 80 mil. Hold on, wait. My numbers are kind of.
Yeah, it's been so long since I did an enhancement event. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's a lot of ED. And they said they had an example. So if you obtain materials on 7/22, they are deleted on 11/25. So that's about like a good 4 months of weeklies to build up your fluorite ores or restoration scrolls. That's a good amount of scrolls.
Yeah, it really is.
If you're getting only scrolls, let's see, how many weeks are in a month? Like 4 weeks? Sometimes 4. How many months?
Kind of.
Like, how many Wednesdays are in this month? 1, 2, 3. Let's just say 4. So 4 times 4, 16, maybe 15 scrolls. That's a good amount of scrolls before they start going away. And like I think, honestly, like I think like people's just enhancements will generally be higher. Like I don't think maybe you'll go to the insane levels that everybody will start having +12s or anything like that. But I think for a lot of people, especially reaching that +9 barrier, is just going to be a lot more achievable for a lot of people.
Yeah, it won't get you that far, but
yeah, well,
it's still something.
I think it may and I think this is just one thing to consider because these are the weeklies, right? But they haven't even told us about the packages yet. Like, how good would these packages be? Right. Because
that's true.
Even if you're a free-to-play player and you're not spending money, somebody else is buying those packages and they want ED. And so they will sell those fluorite ores and they will sell those restoration scrolls on the board. and you can buy that with your ED. You know, kind of supplementing the like kind of fluorite ores and scrolls that you would get. So that's gonna, I think that in tandem with the weekly, I think a lot of people will like be able to get +9, +10, even +11 a lot more easier than how we have it now.
Mm.
Cause like how we have it now, it's like you just wait for an event that happens twice a
Enhancement.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you like blow your wallet, and
Uh-huh.
then and then
And
it's back to hibernation.
right, and it's just like I think at least for me, I'm a strategic person with the market and things like that. Before I even had my first +11, what I would do when I understood how the enhancement event worked, and that took who knows how long to figure that out because you know the game doesn't tell you about enhancement events and how they work. Once I figured out how it worked, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna save up everything I have like for 6 months. And then when enhancement events happen, I'm going to use up all this ED that I have to just go in on enhancement events. And thankfully it worked out and I got a +11 perky weapon.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was really nice. And yeah, my first +11 weapon, it was great. And it worked out, you know, and, you know, but a lot of people aren't like that. A lot of people aren't willing to be like, I'll save up for 6 months and then go in on an enhancement event, you know?
It's instant gratification is important, but
Yeah. So
it's too tempting.
like think about me. Like I'm the common dude, right? Like if I'm the common dude and I'm just like, okay, I just got my weekly scroll. I'm gonna use some fluorites until this breaks. Use my scroll. Okay, I'm done for the week. You know, and you know what I mean? Like that's something the common person can do every week. That I think after like of course RNG is gonna be RNG, but after a certain amount of time, like definitely +8 people that are typically +8 that are gonna be getting +9s. +9 might be getting +10, then maybe eventually +10 to 11. And definitely 4 people. I think it's gonna help people the most who are usually at that +8 line, because I think the line from +8 to +9 is such a big gap, especially with FOJ.
Yeah.
So being able to like do that more comfortably with again getting a scroll every week and then just buying a couple fluorites from the board, and then just doing that, I think it's gonna be a lot more comfortable to reach these high enhancement levels.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I still think that some money needs to be put in if you want +11.
Yeah, I think
Maybe. Like that's unless you like hardcore save and
yeah,
like you know your stuff. You're not gonna
yeah,
you're
unless
gonna
you're
like
just
go
like
try until
unless you're just like okay,
yeah.
for the next 2 months I'm gonna save and be like stock the board and be like, oh, cheap fluorite, buy that, cheap fluorite, buy that, you know?
Yeah, or
Like
you can be like, okay, for the next like 2 months, I will grind raid on like 21 orbs.
yeah. And sell all
Or
my
something like
mystics,
that.
make all my ED, and then just go ham enhancing. Which you could do. That's a viable strategy.
Yep.
But I think the biggest thing is the the ability to do that whenever you want. You know, like
Yeah.
you don't have to wait for a summer enhancement event. You don't need to wait for a winter enhancement event. You can do that on your own time when you want to, because you always have an enhancement event available to you, essentially.
Yeah, which is really, really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, like you still probably want to spend on enhancements anyway.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like if you're not in a rush, then like you can waiting is good. But then it's like, or should I say, not waiting? Waiting to enhance is good. More like waiting to spend money is good.
Yeah, waiting to spend money is good. Yeah. Like, I think one big thing to think about too is like, okay, what does this mean for enhancement events? What makes an enhancement event special now? You know? Because
Personally, I'm praying that it's further sales.
like maybe it's further sales. I think one thing for sure is that it's just gonna be the time that we make amulets instead of upgrading our actual weapons, because lucky gear is gonna be a thing. So, that's a confirmed thing. And then of course, gonna be premium ice burners are gonna be around that time too. So, I think this actually helps the company in a monetary sense as well, because I think they're still gonna have those spikes of money when we get the normal enhancement events, but I think they'll also be getting a more constant flow because these packages are still going to be existing throughout non-enhancement events, you know?
Yeah. I think especially if these packages are like, I don't know, say like you buy like max like 3 a month, for example. Like some people will probably be willing to like buy out all 3 packages of the month, wait till next month, and then buy the pack, and then clean the packages again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's always that one whale out there.
Mm-hmm. And again, like I said, like we talked about, remember when we talked about Corelites before? I think this might be another Corelite situation.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just like, I want to make fast ED. Let me just buy this package and sell all these fluorites, you know? Boom, fast ED. Like, I think that's going to be a really good opportunity for Kaching sellers to be like, make really fast ED with just selling these fluorite packages or scroll packages, whatever they're going to give. I think it will be really nice, especially, and I think another key thing to talk about too is how blacksmith plays a role into this, kind of. So with blacksmith, you can save 20 hammers. I don't know how many.
That's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I don't know how many times you can bash the anvil. Like, what's the cooldown? I might have to look that up real quick.
The cooldown is 10 hours.
10 hours? Okay.
I think it's 10 hours?
So
10 hours per hit.
So strategy, right? And I think one day I'll make maybe like a guide or a video about this. So strategy. If you start out this game or you're very weak in this game, make your main a blacksmith. Step 1. Make your main a blacksmith. Next step is that save up as many hammers as you can. When your hammers reach the maximum, however many times it takes, then you start enhancing, you know? Because, like, I think you want to kind of get into this flow of just, like, obviously always have a scroll with you just in case things break, but you always want to make sure you're always building up hammers, because hammers are good. Hammers are really good. So you always want to be in, I think you will always want to be in a flow of just, like, using hammers, enhancing your things, and then, when your hammers are full, you want to use your hammers, when your hammers are done, maybe stop enhancing, and until you build those hammers back up again. I think you can get in a very good flow of, like, using up hammers. Okay, hammers are done, stop using hammers. If something breaks, make sure you always have a scroll on hand, and then don't enhance if you don't have a scroll, obviously, but you get one of those per week. I think it's gonna make a really good flow of you eventually getting to 9, 10, maybe even 11, honestly. Yeah.
I think enhancement in general has been a problem for a really long time.
Yeah,
because it was so cash dependent. I mean, with these changes, I think. I think with these changes, it's still cash dependent.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just, it's easier.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't think, like, don't get me wrong. This is not perfect. I think I still think they should have a fail track system to this day. I really think they do, or should have a fail track system, because even with all these chances increased, you can still just get nothing over a year. You know, you could try your hardest with blacksmith. You can try your hardest with, like, being diligent with buying scrolls. I mean, saving up scrolls and buying fluorites from the board at cheap, and you could still get nothing. That's the reality of the situation because of RNG. That's why I think they should still have a fail track system. But I think this is leagues and steps better than what we have now, I think, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I think especially because we've been dealing with the system for so many years, and I think I can kind of understand why they're so reluctant to do something like this, because I imagine that the majority of their money will be from enhancement. But the fact that they're willing to take the small step into giving us free stuff, is very nice.
Yeah, I definitely respect it. Real quick, someone had a question in the chat. What is a good class for late game? If your computer can handle it, Celestia. If your computer can handle it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, what were you saying?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that, like, it depends on, like, what you want to use to.
That's true.
What you want to use the class for? Like, is this just for, like, an ult, or is this like a main?
Yeah, if this is like your main or your ult, then I guess, and then it's like, you want to do like DPS. Do you want to support? I think Celestia is a good roundabout answer because he can kind of do support and DPS, but you still need a good computer for it because he kills frames.
Yeah.
A main.
As a main, Okay, now it becomes a lot harder because for a main you also have to enjoy playing them. Because like, we can suggest Celestia, but if you absolutely hate playing Celestia, then our answer doesn't really help.
Yeah.
It also depends a lot on how much you value performance over power. I mean, performance over personal enjoyment, because I know, for example, some people I think Zack is a really good example actually.
Mm-hmm.
So back when Rachel was quite weak, I think Zack was like really frustrated at how she had to put in significantly more effort and funds, just to make her Rachel deal as much damage as a Liberator who was significantly less gear than her.
Yeah. Oh, Rachel is super nutty and has ignore defense.
Yeah, and it also depends. So, for example, like Nova's not the best boss in class by any means, and Nova has historically been not a great clearing class.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was willing to put. But at the same time, like I'm willing to put up with it. And then I dealt with that by making farming hard.
Yeah.
But I was willing to deal with that. Whereas I know some people just can't take it. Like they need performance.
Right.
And
right.
I think clearing is one of those things that is a lot. Like, clearing strength is a lot harder to change here because you can nerf someone's damage, like boom, just like half the damage on their main skill, for example.
I mean,
but with clearing, you have to like change so many things about their utility to be able to nerf the clearing. So go on.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I guess if you want like a decent list that I could maybe recommend, if you just want some options and maybe look into them more, I think like I said, Celestia is a decent option. That's the second path, Noah. I think Dying Galleon can be a decent option. That's the third path, Lucille. What's another one? Maybe Centurion would be a decent option too. He's the third path, Chung.
I heard from Kay that he doesn't feel that great to play after the pulse cannon.
Oh, maybe. Okay,
nerf, but
maybe I'll put Doom in there instead.
Well, there's also the super armor thing being.
That's true. The super armor thing. Yeah.
But I guess at the same time, it's kind of like Centurion still has a lot of power, so it's kind of like if you're willing to go past. I think with everything, it's more like how willing are you to push past their detriments.
Yeah. I think okay.
And then everyone has different thresholds of that. So
okay, true. No, then you're 100% right. I think maybe then I would at least definitely recommend Celestia if you want to do damage and support, Dying Galleon if you just want to do damage, and then maybe CC if you just want to do support. I think those are 3 good options.
I agree.
Yeah. I think those are 3 good options. Look into that more if you like, but it's just the best I can recommend without being like, okay, what type of gameplay do you like? Okay, do you like doing this? Do you like dealing with this? How much are you willing to like put into the character?
Yeah, go into the specifics.
Yeah, go into super specific.
But at the same time, you could also just pick your favorite character. That's what I
yeah. Most times you can pick your favorite character and be pretty solid. There's only a handful of characters that I would say are just bad and have no benefits at all, or very low benefits. Like that'd be like I would say those are just like maybe like Black Massacre doesn't have really many benefits.
I heard that she's the highest DPS.
Really?
I heard that she's the highest DPS burst now. Yeah.
Oh, what about Tempest Burst? Okay, because, what about Tempest Burster then?
Tempest. I think it's mostly because Tempest Burster has damage at scales with target size. So if you have something small, then it's not that great. Oh, there's also that Wait, never mind. Mod Burst Grenade has indoor defense on it now, right?
I don't know actually.
Let me double check because I know Mod Bloody Carnival does.
Oh, okay.
Or was it? Okay, yeah, Mod has 50% indoor defense, and she also has like inbuilt. Actually, I don't know, but I think might be the highest one. I don't know, that's what I heard. Or like in terms of DPS, like comparative to other roses, like Black Massacre is not bad, but it's more like her clearing is so abysmal that I don't know whether you're okay with that.
Clearing is like clearing is a big thing too. Like, what is clearing on the Black Massacre?
Oh my god,
doesn't exist. But I think the point that we're trying to make is that, at least for the useless class part, there's not that many useless classes. Like, if you pick a character, you'll succeed in some area of the game. For sure.
You'll make them. Yeah, and also if you like them, like you are probably going to be willing to put in the effort to make them work.
Yeah. Someone had another question.
Does that?
I hope does that answer your question, Jukes? I hope that does.
Yeah, I heard our response was okay.
Okay, and someone else had a question. Do you
Um,
guys think we will receive a new suicidal path like BQ, and NI, in which the character would fit better? Oh, like they burn HP for damage? Oh, he said thanks. Oh yeah, no problem, no problem.
yeah, burn HP damage. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
hard to say because that's such a
Oh.
gameplay niche that I'm maybe like maybe if Rena goes like kind of the dark elf route, maybe she can do like a whole like blood sacrifice kind of thing to summon things, you know, like Nephilims and things like that. Like maybe that's something she could do. Maybe like Eve can do something like using her life force / battery life to like do something with that where she uses up HP for that, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Everything's kind of a movie. It's like saying what do you think the new character would be like.
Yeah, it's just hard to gauge, really. At least I would say. It's hard to gauge something that specific. Like, do you think this character will be an HP burn class? Just because there's HP burn classes are so rare in this game. There's 2 out of how many characters do we have? Like 40 something, 50 something.
50. Yeah, close to 50. Yeah.
Yeah, we have 2 out of 50 characters have HP burn. So it's definitely not a rare. I mean, it definitely is a rare thing. So it's hard for me to be like, definitely, but maybe. I think maybe. It'll be on the table. Yeah. That's pretty much my answer. I think we're pretty much our answer for that. It's just maybe.
Yeah.
Hard to say right now.
그럼.
Oh, thank you for the follow. Someone followed. Z3 Rocks. Oh, thanks for the follow.
Oh, yes. Thanks. Thank you for the support.
The current crisis. Where were we before we started answering questions? I forget.
I can't remember. Wait, were we stuck before we started answering questions? I think we were stuck.
We might have been stuck. No, we were talking about enhancements for a little bit, I think, right?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about enhancements.
I think so.
I mean, I guess there's really more to say. The biggest thing I think the biggest thing is just I'm kind of excited to see it happen and like experience it. Although I'm not gonna use it on my main because my main is all plus 11, so I can't use it at all.
I'm assuming you have it ready for your viewers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a plus 11 ready, yeah. So my main can get no use out of these free enhancement things. But, I don't know, maybe I could, hey, you know what, my EXP weapon is plus 9, maybe I can make that plus 11, you know? There you go. That's something.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go, got another question. What are the best classes to start filling the collection? That's a good question.
Ooh.
The big thing is,
I think...
who's your main? Is your main physical or
I think
magical?
firstly,
What were you gonna say?
Yep. Oh no, I was gonna say, it depends. Like, it slightly depends on class. Like, for example, damage increase, for example, like, and I'm BQs, ones are like useless unless you're and I or BQ.
Oh, here we go. He gave us some. He gave us a template. He said, "I'm a main magical and I'm building for Genesis." Okay, we have a template now. Building for Genesis.
Okay, so I think prioritize the magic. I think prioritize the magic attack ones first.
Here you go. Wait, so magic attack.
Wait, Genesis is...
Yeah, Genesis is magical. He's magical.
So
magical attack would be Code Ultimate, Code Sariel,
and rest.
And Radiant Soul. So yeah. So Code Ultimate, Code Sariel, Radiant Soul. I definitely think do the 3 Lucille's because crit, maxi, and damage reductions are just free stats that are just really good. Those are nice. Next, I would say is get the boss damage from Hersher. That one's really good. What else?
Yeah.
The Noahs are pretty solid too. So critical damage is decent. Ignore magical defense can be decent. And then
bravery damage from...
Yeah, now I need to figure out. So is Genesis a bravery or a strength?
Oh, okay, that's okay. We don't. Okay.
Okay, so
I think there are some classes.
Okay, so
I was gonna say that I think it's less about because all of these are so good, and like eventually you'll fill up all of them anyway. So I think it's more of a matter of cancelling out the ones that aren't going to be useful.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
practically all, like all 3 Ravens.
Yeah,
All
you
3
you probably don't need the 3 Ravens. You don't need the 3 Lessuses. The 3 Renas can be good. Mostly just Twilight. Free attack speed
Actually,
is
I
nice.
want. Yeah. Actually, I want to say all 3 Renas are super, super, super nice. Or at least that's me. Or maybe that's because I play such a large amount of bias on speed.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't know how much Genesis is affected by attack speed. Because say, for example, you're
True.
Sariel, attack speed is not very important to
Irrelevant,
you.
yeah.
But if you're a Tony winner, like, you would commit many crimes for attack speed bottoms. Also, I've heard. So,
What is it? But yeah. Okay, if Genesis is bravery though, real quick, then go bravery damage, obviously. So that'd be Immortal. Who else is bravery damage?
Primal Predator.
PO. That it? Immortal PO?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it, yeah. You could get CDR, I guess.
Yeah, it's up to you.
So, add some CDR.
Yeah. So I would say, yeah. So I think number 1, get your magical attack. Number 2, get the base stat people like Lucille's and then the Twilight. And then number 3, get your bravery stuff, bravery damage, bravery cooldown, and slap the boss damage in there too from Hersher. Yeah, pretty solid stuff. And there you go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hope that answers that question.
Yes.
And then you think about synergy, but that's a whole different topic. And I don't know how fourth path does their synergy. I can only speak about third path synergies.
Yeah.
I don't know what fourth path synergy does. But I wouldn't worry too much about synergy yet. I think synergy is more of a icing on the cake type of thing, unless you're doing
especially because it's like 30 bill a week.
Yeah.
So
in my opinion, you only mess with synergy if you're doing birth raids. I think without birth raids, I don't think I think don't mess with synergy at all.
I don't think it matters. Yeah.
Book is fine though, because book is permanent.
Yeah. It's free CP.
Yeah, free combat power. But yeah, let's say, but in birth, synergy is very required. My lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine birth without resurrection synergies. You would never complete it.
Without seal time synergy. Like there are actually like so many strategies that just don't work without the seal time synergy. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine how many clears we wouldn't be getting without seal time synergy. So many left.
Yeah, so many sad black and white title runs.
Oh yeah, we're getting that too in the Genesis patch. They made black and white easier. Did you hear about that? You can die once.
Oh.
Yeah. Wait, you can die once or twice. Let me look actually. You might be able to die twice actually.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's actually pretty nice.
That's so sad. I mean, like, I feel really sorry for the people who like
who grinded it already. Yeah.
All right, guys, we have to wipe down. My brother's gone.
Yeah. I think it's you can die once, but it might be you can die twice. Let me take a look.
Okay.
Black and white.
I guess like we kind of have it easier because we have res passive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have res passive and stuff like. I mean,
and
at the same time, it is skill invincibility in Nova's res passive.
That's true.
So it doesn't go past like HP burn or things that ignore iframes.
That's true.
Yeah.
But at least we don't have to like pot immediately on wake up.
Yeah.
Because now it's like gives like 20% per tick instead of like
nothing.
1%. I want to say like 2% or something. So now like whenever I die, I have a habit of like potting and then I'm like, oh wait, I can just beat it.
Yeah. No, I do that too. Sometimes I get up from a res and I just want to use a potion. I just have to.
Yeah.
I cannot find it, but just believe me that they changed black and white to be like you can die once. I know at least you can die once. Maybe you can die twice, but I'm not sure.
I feel so sorry for the people who've gone it already.
I know, right?
Like especially the people who've gone repeatedly. Like, oh no, I messed up my run. We need to wipe now.
We gotta. Oh goodness. I don't think I've ever been in a party like that because I don't think I've ever been in a grinding party, but I could imagine.
Yeah, and imagine if your party takes ages too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god. Like I mean, for the parties that take like I don't know, The 2-minute 30 party.
Yeah, like they don't care. It's just like whatever. Just let's just complete the run and then we'll keep going.
But yeah, imagine. But yeah, just thinking. Sorry, sometimes I think about the 2-minute 30 run, and I thought, imagine like if you grinded and you'll run to 2:30. Holy crap!
And so yeah, when I see some of these runs, I'm just like, oh, jeez.
They're skipping bands like
immediately
from the bad animation. From the bad animation, yeah.
Like birth. Like the only thing that stops you is like birth phase 2 because he has HP thresholds where you just can't be hit. Like I think at 90, 60, and 30, he just can't be hit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's like that's the only thing stopping these parties.
Yeah, and then when he roars to ban it, you just like skip the ban while he roars for the ban.
Yeah, you just Celestia Gemini, and it's just like whatever, dude. I still can't believe Gemini can do that. I know.
Yeah, like remember when the very first birth clear in the world was an hour?
Yeah, it was an hour. Now it's like 8 minutes for both or something.
Yeah. Well, at least the fastest 15.6 is now like 2 minutes 30.
Yeah, really? That's insane to me.
Wait, you've seen it, right?
No, I don't think I have actually this 2-minute run.
Wait.
Yeah, I don't think I
have.
It's
so funny. Well, like it's so fast.
The fastest I've seen is like a 4-minute. Is it a physical party with like Dangelion?
Yes.
Of course.
So the party composition was Dangelion, so all three Nolas. Dangelion, Metamorphy, and Code Empress. I mean Code Essentia. The Essentia is actually here. I sent the link.
Wait, Essentia, really?
Essentia, yeah.
Huh.
I don't know why.
I mean, maybe... I guess they liked her buffs. I guess I know she gives party buffs.
Yeah, I think it's the buff. Yeah, because she gives how much? Because everyone gives like a fair amount of boss damage in this as well.
I like
yeah, the video is so fast. It's so funny.
I mean, like this is like the fact that like this is what people did to Rosso after we got Rigomore set. Like literally. And then people are just doing this now with Rigomore, so, like with the stuff we have now.
Yeah.
These Liberators so dumb too, those shadows. I assume this is before the shadows nerf. Is this before his shadows got nerfed?
Yeah, I think so.
I bet, yeah. Yeah, those things used to be 100, I think, right? 100 defense ignore?
I think so, yeah.
Like, why was that okay? Like, who said that was okay? That... Imagine just your extra hits just have defense ignore. Oh, goodness, there. Like... The dialogue box from Seal has not gone away, and they're already at, like, less than half. Good lord. Like, how? Like, all Birth is just trying to apply bans. That's all he's doing right now. He can't attack. He's just applying and taking off bans. That's all he can do. Oh, let me skip the seizure real quick. Okay, we're at Annihilator now. Annihilator is a great name, by the way.
Yes.
Oh my. At least he's small, so he's not dying as fast.
He also has more HP, but still.
Yeah, of course. And he did laser phase. Oh, he's done. You messed up, buddy. He did laser phase. Oh my goodness. And then he's just dead. That's so crazy. I can't believe it.
I love how during the laser phase, like his HP is just goes down even faster.
220. I know, right? Because you can debuff him and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
226. My goodness. Can you optimize this party anymore?
I don't actually know.
I don't know. I'm just curious.
I'm actually curious as to how much damage the Essentia
is adding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, Liberator and Dangelion, that's the DPS. Metamorphy physical buffer, like Nyx like extra buffer, Celestia god tier buffer, like Essentia is like you think like I don't think really good at buffer when I think Essentia.
Actually, let me check the buffs.
Because is there another physical buffer they could have used instead? Like is Anemos' buff independent? Thinking. Oh, Sky went BRB, that's okay. I guess I'll answer your question, Asta. Well, Sky goes BRB. Um, why is Cobalt so useless? So the problem with Cobalt is that, so the way Cobalt works, right, is that, things cost more mana, but you're doing more damage. So that's the idea, right? The problem is the extra damage you're doing with Cobalt is still less than Crimson. That's the main problem, is that the extra damage you're getting from Cobalt is still less than Crimson. So it's just like, why would I go to Cobalt, which has a hard disadvantage, and the benefit is not high as Crimson? That's kind of the main problem with Cobalt.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Just answering a quick question about Cobalt while you were gone.
Okay, let me see. Actually, let me see. Oh wait, we could just consult with the. Why am I searching through the passives? I could just look at the raid buffs for
True.
potatoes.
Raid buffs for potatoes. Yeah, I love them. Raid buffs for potatoes is such a good thing to use.
We truly are starch-filled organisms.
I know, right?
Okay, Sensio. It's good. So she gives destruction aura, which is pretty good.
Okay, that's true. Destruction aura is good.
So Rhythm Pride is 10% crit max. Okay. Oh, okay. So here it is. 20. So you have 20. So cheat code Bullbreaker gives you. So it gives you buffs depending on what summons are up. So so when Oban's out, you have 20% special active damage.
Okay.
And then Ophelia has defensive buffs, which is not relevant. Oh no, it's just Oberon that has the offensive buff because because Ophelia has defensive stuff.
And Ferdinand has I think Ferdinand only
hyper,
has hyper, yeah.
Yeah. I actually wonder whether it's quite the damage app actually, but I think her damage might be a reason.
Oh,
because
she
you
might
can
be a DPS herself. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she might be a DPS herself. I mean, like, if you're going this fast, everyone has to be DPS.
That's true.
But I think maybe her damage is just really because you need classes that deal damage really fast. Really fast.
That's true.
So maybe they like her because you Tesla fled, things blow up. I don't know.
I guess so, yeah. It must be that she's also a DPS and that. I mean, these are good buffs, like 20% special active, 10% crit maxi. I think those are good.
Yeah.
And then obviously destruction buff is like physical, magical, and then maximize as well.
Yeah. But man, holy crap!
That's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that like the classes you would like typically see, some of them are not there. Like a CC is not there.
Yeah.
I guess they don't need the cooldown increase with the.
Yeah, because you're deleting the boss so quickly, like.
You
don't need.
Yeah. And the guy was using Cerulean as well, so I assume he.
Yeah, so that means he must have like capped. Oh, okay. Actually, yeah, that played a huge part into it because he doesn't need to run Crimson.
Because I probably assumed that he has probably capped Polarize anyway.
Yeah, that's like the only reason why you would not run Crimson.
Let me see. Yeah, he's using Wonder Markin, 2-piece and then the 5-piece.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he definitely has. So he's using Wonder Markin plus symbol, which I think the overall.
He's hiding his combat power. That's so cute.
Oh no, I think it's because did he actually like censor it, or was it just from the chat box?
No, I think it just happened to be that the chat box was there.
Okay. Okay, then yeah.
Yeah, there's just a giant black box on the screen that it just happens to be the perfect spot to hide his combat power. I
wonder what it is.
Wait, actually, I assume he got MVP, but I'm curious. Yeah, he got MVP.
Okay, yeah, fair. It's Liberator.
Yeah. Liberator's even with the nerf, Liberator's still good. 50% still low.
Yeah, he's just not
insane.
Good onkers anymore.
Yeah. I mean, defense ignore really makes or breaks Birth. I don't know. I don't know if I like that, really does. But that's just kind of how it is, I guess.
Yeah. I know they slapped defense ignore onto more people, but it's like it's still very. But I guess at the same time, like Dangel and Liberator are strong for other reasons. Like it's not just because they're defense ignore. Like they have other things that contribute to their power as well. So I guess until all that gets hit, and they're still gonna overshadow everyone else.
Like it's just because like I think the reason why defense ignore is so strong is just because of those hyper armor phases exist.
Yeah.
Like there, of course, there's phases where, in parts like attacks where the boss is debuffable, but they're so far and in between that defense ignore, just ignoring that and just continuing on doing its damage is just so important.
I mean, a fire defense ignore win.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're gonna keep saying this until it comes.
I know, it'd be so nice. Again, at least the critical trait, please. At least the critical trait.
Yeah,
that's all I ask.
That'd be so nice.
Why is light trait there? No one to use light trait, please.
Change it.
Please change it. What
okay,
else?
so we've got 5 more minutes.
Yeah, we got like 5 more minutes. I'm trying to think of like one more topic to talk about. Anybody else have a last minute question? We got 5 minutes or so. Let me think. Oh, did you jump a character?
Me? Not yet.
Not yet. Do you have any plans to jump someone?
I'll either jump a Liberator for collection, or I'll jump. Well, actually, not even just Liberator, just any collection character, especially maybe some of the Awakening time. Wait, maybe FP. Awakening duration, maybe, because I want CP.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask why you wanted Awakening duration, but yeah, that's a good
CP,
power booster.
Free CP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I could just jump. But currently, I think Liberator is probably the most likely. Or maybe, and then if I think there's way more sort of collection boss that I need. So I think I just jump 2 collection people.
Okay. Yeah, I am jumping a PO. I already said that because I want to try out PO and I want the +10 void on her. After that, I'm either gonna do like base Owlboy, maybe if I'm feeling Genesis, or I can do a collection buff as well. What would I do? I already have a Twilight. I just need a 3rd dropper. You're done. I don't know, actually. I think I have everything I want. They would just had the things that I have just need to be 3rd jobbed. I might do the Awakening duration, like you said, for combat power, like free combat power. Maybe I could do like a no, I already have 3 Owlboys actually. It's just that I job changed him. Yeah, I know. I guess the only thing I can really do is Awakening duration or Awakening charge speed for CC.
Yeah, more CP. We love CP.
Combat power is nice.
Yeah.
Or I can do another Celestia and have more money. You know, free money is always nice. Just because, you know, anybody takes a Celestia in raid, and then you can do that raid twice a week. Free money.
Yeah.
Although technically, when I think about it, I don't even raid with my Celestia much anymore, just because I don't know why. I just don't.
I think it's because he's a lot more, like, because his boss is so catered to longer runs. Like CDA is only useful if you run. Like CDA gets more and more useful the longer your runs are. Things like.
Oh no, I was just saying I don't play my Celestia that much in raids, just because I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I guess I just like DPSing more in raids, like as Nova, and that's just more fun to me. Compared to like supporting. Although I still want to try out PO, just because I feel like PO would be cool to try.
Yeah.
New experience.
I think for me it really depends on like whether I like DPSing or supporting more. I think it really depends on my mood.
Yeah.
Like for example, like maybe I'll get into a party where the runs is not like super fast, and I'll be sitting here, I'm like, and going like I could have come on my DPS and this would have been finished faster than if I came with a support. I think especially because I can kind of MP heal too, so it's not like
Yeah, he's a good MP.
so it's like I'm still
well.
offensive to the party as well as damage.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to go faster.
I got you. That makes...
Or just deleting things with rain is fun.
Oh yeah, random stuff. Yeah, no. Let's say it's Breath aside, Nova is really good in Rosso. Like no matter what, I think. And there's a good amount of big bosses, and like Rosso is still easy enough that like you don't really need defense ignore because I don't think he has that much hyper armor. I don't think does he have any hyper armor that I think about it?
Yeah, he does. A
little
like
bit.
when he does cages.
Oh yeah, so yeah, he does have hyper armor when he cages. But that's not too often, so you can always slap your debuffs on there, like your wind orbs and things like that. So, like, you can imagine wind orb is just Nova's defense ignore. You can pretend a little bit.
You can pretend to be useful.
Although I swear, sometimes people forget to wind orb, and I always forget to ask at the beginning of the raid.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why. Some people just like I guess. Maybe it's just an idea of just like no one told me to wind orb, so I'm not gonna wind orb, or I'm just like I don't know if somebody else is gonna wind orb kind of thing.
I think it's an I don't. For me, it's an I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, it might be a mix for me because I don't usually wind because I don't have the habit of wind orbing, so sometimes it's just.
Yeah, like I gotta get into the habit of asking like who's gonna wind orb.
Okay.
Because I feel like if I don't ask, then no one's gonna do it.
Yeah, I think for me, like usually the run goes by so fast that it's like it doesn't really matter whether someone has the one or not. Like it's just.
That's fair. Yeah, no, it's just that sometimes I get stuck in runs that like, I feel like I just kind of get that feeling that no one's using a wind orb, like just based on my damage. Because like I feel like you can at least know when someone's not using a wind orb because you can feel like your damage not being as much, depending on the party that you have. Because like, I'll definitely get into some runs when I'm just like, I feel like I'm doing a lot of skills and a lot of damage, and I feel like the boss should be dead by now, but he's not. I wonder if no one's using a wind orb. That's a big spike in damage. That 50% defense ignore. Or reducing the defense by 50%. Yeah, it's a huge spike in damage. But yeah, I just again, tip to you guys out there who are do raids, and tip to me as well. I just need to before the raid starts. When you're also just like, okay, can you freeze? Make sure to add in, oh, can somebody wind orb? Make sure to add that in too.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we're out of time now.
Yeah, I think that's it. Any last comments, guy?
I don't think so. Apart from the usual, for everyone who listened the whole time, and also for those who joined halfway, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Crow will hopefully be back next week. I don't know. Maybe I'll yell at her to go to bed at a reasonable time. Yes. Well, I guess for those who don't know, Crow and I are in Australia, so right now it is 2:01 p.m.
Yeah.
So the podcast starts at 11 a.m. for us.
Which isn't. I don't think that's too bad, but it's sometimes
it's not too bad.
It is the weekend, and sometimes you want to stay up too late for the weekend, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes when you stay up till like 6 a.m., that's becomes a bit of a problem.
Yeah. All right. Oh wait, one real quick question, I guess, before we go head off. Which of the ads are the most picked for raid?
Okay.
Yeah, Mad Paradox. Unless you are a DPS, then Doombringer. Which I think if you're asking that question, you're probably not a DPS, so Mad Paradox. Yeah. So probably Mad Paradox. Yeah.
You have a heal and steal time. Yeah.
All right. But yeah, that's for us, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next time. Have yourselves a good day, and bye.